How's it going, everybody? This is MOS Tricks, and today we're going to be talking about defense. This is one of the biggest topics right now, topics of discussion, and I actually put out a poll showing that a lot of people need help with this. This poll was a landslide saying, yo, how do I get people off of me when they are just doing whatever they want to do, and I'm just holding block for my life? So we're going to be talking about that today. So there's actually an insane amount of different mechanics in the game that allow you to defend yourself and also get away from somebody if they are just mashing on you. And all of this can be found in the training room, and that's all good and well. And I will say that I've taken a look, and even for myself, I've not learned and mastered every single thing in the training room. But the more important thing is, how do I know, and this is probably going to save your life or change your life, how do I know what move I should be doing in what situation so that I'm not wasting opportunities or making mistakes and getting blown up for pushing the wrong button when I had a chance to defend myself. So the number one thing when it comes to defending yourself is making sure that you do in fact have a couple bars of ki. This is going to be life-changing for you, because if you are getting absolutely blown up and you cannot vanish to get away from somebody, holy smokes, is it going to be a rough day. So if you have a chance to get some distance from somebody, charge some ki, and play a little bit defensive, that's going to be number one. Number two is when you are actually inside the step-in barrier. And this barrier, for those of you that don't know, is when you are up close to somebody and it actually makes you fly or walk much slower. So right now we're fighting in the step-in barrier right here, or we were for a second here. So when you're inside this barrier, you'll notice that the fighters will change from having a sideways dash to having a handspring or a somersault or just like a sideways step or also a dash in. You can see a couple examples of this happening right now. So once you're inside the step-in barrier, the name of the game is patience. And what you're waiting for, this is super important, what you're waiting for is for your opponent to try and charge something to actually get past your guard, or they're going to try and step you to hit you from the side, or they're going to try and grab you. Until one of those things comes out, you want to try and go for chip damage, where you're going to step back and throw out ki blasts, throw out your jabs 1 and 2, and then go for a step, but don't ever commit to anything that is huge. If you see your opponent whiff a grab, then you yourself can go for a grab, or you can step back or step to the side and go for a point blank special. Or if they are just wailing away on you like this, you can initiate a sonic sway. If you don't know how to do this, all you have to do is be blocking and then press circle. That is it. Or perception, depending on what you have it binded to. The other option that you have in that situation there is to also vanish. What you don't want to do is drop your guard and try and fight back while you are being hit on guard. Also, while you are in guard, you also have the ability to knock somebody away from you by pressing forward on your control stick and then pressing square. I have had some difficulties with this one personally, so I don't necessarily love going to it, but it's kind of a tight window, and if I understood it a little bit better, it would definitely be good, because if you happen to go for that move instead, it doesn't actually use any ki, and you can always do it. Just the timing is a little bit tight. So you might be asking yourself, okay, well, if I have to be patient and wait for someone to actually commit to something so I can punish it, what happens if they never commit to anything and we kind of just sit in the stalemate forever? And there's a couple answers to that question, but the most obvious thing that you can do is just step back or dash back, try to gain more ki, throw out some ki blasts and charge and just reset neutral. Or eventually, if your opponent happens to panic, they're probably going to try and do something huge. They're going to start mashing on you, in which case you can go for a sonic sway, or they might try and go for a grab if you're blocking a lot, or if you're really paying attention to your ki meters. If they happen to run out of ki and you still have ki, then you can vanish all around them, and if they don't have the ability to vanish back, then you can probably get a grab, or you can probably hit them from the back. It kind of goes without saying, but as you get better and better at this game, you're going to realize that it's harder and harder to actually hit somebody up close. So don't get into the idea of thinking that if I approach, I have to be successful. There's a lot of times where you'll get up close, you might hit them a few times, and then they reverse you, in which case you reverse them right back, and then you just reset. So just like you are trying to hit them without getting hit, they're obviously trying to do the exact same thing. They don't want to get hit either, in which case good fighters and even good CPUs are going to make you work for that opening. Another huge tip that I actually learned pretty quickly is that it's going to take quite a few vanishes to actually get the upper hand in an up-close fight. Don't think for a single second that you just vanished one time and now they're going to guaranteed miss and that you can just do whatever you want. Because until you've actually hit them and put them into hit stun, and even then they can still fight back. But more often than not, even if you put someone in hit stun, they have the chance to vanish again. So if you hit somebody, vanish. Reposition, then throw out some attacks, then vanish again. Reposition and possibly, let's say, dash back and throw out some ki blasts if they try and go for a grab or something, just to try and go for a safe poke while you're up close, and then vanish again. It's going to take quite a bit it. I would consider the defense and the up close fighting in this game more so like tug of war or like an arm wrestle where nobody just instantly wins. It's kind of a slow burn until somebody makes a mistake. Because if you think you can go in and instantly win, you're going to make one mistake and instantly lose because they are more than willing to be patient while you are not. And the final tip I have with regards to defense, and it actually helps you as well with your approaches as well, is don't be afraid to block first. If you dash in on someone and then block, they will typically panic. It's very, very unlikely that players are going to wait for you to dash in and then they're immediately going to go for a grab. And if that does happen, it's because you've conditioned them to believe that going for a grab is now the safe or smart thing to do because every time you approach, you are blocking. But if they start mashing on you immediately, you can dash in, block, let them hit your block, and then sonic sway to reverse them, or you can try and vanish to get behind them while they are still going for their string. And in the event that they do start to play very grab heavy, then that is absolutely where you can start to dash in and then vanish the grab, or simply step to the left or right, or even step back, make them whiff their grab, and then you can do basically whatever you want. The number one way to get somebody to stop mashing is essentially to get them to punch themselves out. And what I mean by that is block or move out of the way until they've exhausted all options possible to try and hit you and they're just making themselves look silly. And once they overextend with a huge mistake, then that's when you capitalize. The number one thing for sure you're going to have to do is just start off being patient, don't be afraid to block, and then reverse them. If you just try and go toe-to-toe with mashing, they could just do something absolutely random. They could just charge something, they could move to the side. Now, while you're mashing trying to overpower them, they just reverse you for free because you're not being patient. And I want to say that I know this for a fact from experience. I myself am an esports coach, and I've been coaching fighting games and shooting games for the better half of about 5 years at this point. I'm definitely not a professional when it comes to playing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, but I do know a thing or two about making reads, conditioning, and just overall how to play fighting games. And a lot of the same rules do apply to this as well. And conceptually, once you understand this game, since it is so free-flowing and so fast, if you know what you are trying to do, you are going to just skill gap people off of reaction time alone. If you just know what to do, you will be cooking. The number one reason why people fail on defense is because they don't know what to do. They get jumped on, they panic, and then they spiral out of control and they just lose. I'm going to be dropping a ton of guides in the future, very similar to this, kind of like a discussion style, but also some very highly edited guides as well. I've been dropping them in the form of shorts right now. You might have seen them flying around on YouTube. I've marketed them or branded them as Ultra Instincts. So very quick, very highly edited, nice, polished guides for you guys. If you're interested in learning, be sure to check those out. And once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something new, and as always, have a good day.